What's up, Internet? So plumbing is a thing. That's a good way to start today. Fun story, someone in my family accidentally flushed down the sink a cap for toothpaste. And, you know, getting that back, that's not that big a deal. Unfortunately, whoever decided to work on the plumbing in their bathroom sink last time, they did something really dumb. They decided to basically, prevent leaks or something, basically weld all the pipes together. And that turned what was basically just unscrew two caps and, you know, remove the problem, into basically rip out all the pipes, wait until tomorrow to try and get like a couple more parts to try and put them back together, and hope it all works out. So, yeah, that it was suddenly this huge, arduous endeavor, and hopefully it works out tomorrow. But that's what I did today. I tried to solve a very simple problem, and it turned into a very big problem because of someone else's kind of dumb idea. But plumbing is not something I know anything about, really, and it's one of those things that if something goes wrong, it turns into a big, really unpleasant problem down the way, so you really don't want anything necessarily to go wrong when it comes to plumbing. So, yeah, that was a fun thing to do today, even though I really didn't want to. But we are going to our neighboring town, and we're going to go sell some stuff. And then we're going to go help some villagers, and maybe come back here and help our new villagers out, because we have them. I am suddenly realizing how dehydrated I am right now, because I am already almost down my glass of water. But we'll play for a little while anyway. Get out of the way, Rover. I have things to do, and you are occupying space that could otherwise be empty. That would make me happy. On the bright side, we are 2 days out from seeing the fish of August. That's pretty exciting. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I'm very excited to work on our collection again. I'm very excited for how close to finished we are with the collection. Excuse me. Although I am a little worried about, you know, what are we going to do once we finish the proper collection? I'm not sure. Sell that, sell that, sell this, sell this, sell this. And, you know, that's something that we're just going to have to figure out when we get to it, because honestly, it's something I don't really have much of an answer to. Is that useful for something? That's the Daisy Meadow. I think we'll hold on to that, honestly, so we'll put that back over here. But the rest of these should be presents, and I know we still have some in our mailbox back home. We'll deal with that later, although we won't sell them today, I don't think. Open this, open this, open this, and open this. And we have one actual good fossil. Terrific. Oh well, that just seems to be our luck with fossils. Sell all of this. Make very little money because we don't have any real fossils in our pockets right now, but let's see if Nook has anything cool to buy. Spaceship. That's kind of cool. You know, all I can think when I see a space shuttle is that one level from Blastcore where you had to destroy an entire city just to let one land. That was a great game. Great level too, and it comes at you out of nowhere, because you think when that level comes at you that you're done the game, and then suddenly, wham! Whole new crazy level that's, you know, still the same basic idea, but it sounds and feels like it's on a whole bigger, like, level than what you've done previously. And what's great about that is, you know, at that point, the game is still just kind of starting, because then you have all the crazy space missions afterwards. Go get Blast Core is what I'm saying. It's not a super expensive game, and it's awesome. And it's a must-have N64 one. Or if you've got an Xbox One, it's on Rare Replay. And Rare Replay is just an incredible package. First of all, it was $30 at launch. Second of all, you got 30 games. And, you know, fourth of all, you got awesome ZX Spectrum games. Which are, you know, games we never really got in North America as far as I know. Because I don't think the Spectrum ever really came out over here. Also, you know, you got Rare titles, which are awesome. The only things in that collection that were missing. The only things in there that were missing. Thank you, Brain. The only things there that weren't in that collection that really should have been, and I get why they weren't, were the Donkey Kong Country games, because, you know, of course, licensing. But still, I think those were kind of the pinnacle of Rare doing their awesomeness. And I have no idea why I'm on Rare Replay right now. I haven't played that in forever. I really should. And now all I can think about is how much I don't understand why people like Conker's Bad Fur Day. Because I played that. That game is a disconnected mess. That barely works. I actually ran into a boss in that game that actually, like, glitched in such a way I couldn't fight it. It just, it wouldn't attack. It literally just stood there and just stared at me while I really couldn't do anything with it. It was a weird fight. And the funny thing is, like, you know, if you've ever heard anything about this game, it was sort of like the big fight. It was like the one fight everyone really talks about. And I was kind of excited about it. And, you know, not only did that fight glitched like 3 times after I died twice, having to make like this really buggy jump in that one room too. Like, that game is just not good. I don't care what anyone says. And I kind of attribute that to not being good. Because it was a game that was basically completely changed into something else really late in the game. And I think it kind of had to at least keep at least some semblance of the initial structure. And that's why there's, like, basically no story to it at points, and it's just like, well, just do this because we told you so. You know, it feels like the entire plot of that game just sort of disappears immediately. You know, I should really review that game sometime soon. And other news about today, I got a bit of a surprise in the mail. Last week I bought a couple Japanese import games, as you do. And, you know, Japanese imports tend to show up, weirdly enough, quicker than getting anything from the States for whatever reason. But, you know, that still takes about a month, and here it showed up in like less than a week. And I'm genuinely kind of shocked about that. But, importing games is fun. So I'm hoping what I got is good, but if nothing else, I've got a few games that are definitely worth talking about. So that's always exciting. I gotta decide what to play first, though. Nothing else, make gameplay videos or something out of it. Let's talk, Ace. I know, Goldie. She does have a brutal fashion sense. I will do this for you. Delivering is much easier than retrieving, because retrieving usually means you have to go through like 8 people to get it back, and that's just the worst. Man, now I just want to play Rare Replay. Play more Spectrum games. Honestly, that's... aside from the fact that I just love Rare, that was part of the reason I really wanted to buy that collection when it came out, was just, you know, Spectrum. We never really got any, and it's a neat little sort of archivist dream sort of thing, and as an archivist myself, I kind of like that sort of stuff. And I'm almost entirely out of water at this point. But it had that really cool haunted house game, too, that I really liked, where it had a bunch of different characters, and each character could only use, like, certain secret passages and stuff. Can't think of what that game was called, but that game was... I had a blast with that game. And since I played it during pirate gaming, which you can go watch on my YouTube channel, and I suggest you do because it's fascinating, You know, I've gotten a newfound respect for that rare NES skiing game. You know, when I first played it, I thought it was a pretty bad game, but you know, playing it again for pirate gaming, I just thought, you know, this is actually not too bad. So that's a thing I could play as well. Man, so many options. I got 30 games to play in that. I think Rare Replay was also like the last game I physically bought for the thing. And I bought that at launch. And I think that's kind of indicative of just like this past console generation, is I've just put very little actual investment in physical games, which is weird for me, because I typically like having the physical thing as opposed to digital. And part of the reason is because, you know, I've got a shelf of games, and when I can physically see what I'm looking at, it's easier for me to decide what I want to do and what I want to play. So not having that's, for the vast majority, is a little strange for me. But, you know, I really just don't have very many physical copies of games for last generation. I've got a couple of, like, some games that I consider to be more important than the rest. Stuff like the remake to, or the re-release to, what was it, Fast Striker. I've got that, the remake to Sunset Riders, Wild Guns. But, you know, for the most part, I just have all digital. Phantasy Star Online 2, that I have a physical copy of. But that was more a case of me not realizing it was actually offered for free until literally after I clicked the Buy It Now button. I do feel very dumb about that. But, you know, while I haven't played it in about a year or two... Aw, Goldie. I just want to give you a thing. Fine. Chow, you ruin everything. You know, even though I haven't played it in about a year, I gotta say, I'm pretty sure Phantasy Star Online 2 is still an excellent game, and, you know, people are still going crazy over the fact it's finally coming to the Xbox One. I just kind of hope that it's not on different servers, because that was a great game where you could just use your email to log in on any server whatsoever, at least initially. And I did that with the original PC release. Like, back when it first came out, I somehow managed to get through, like, a Japanese captcha to get into that, which is a huge pain in the ass. That took me, like, I swear to you, probably, like, 3 hours to figure out, with, like, a list of katakana and hiragana on Wikipedia. But I got there, and, you know, I played the crap out of it. And then it came out to consoles, and it's like, wow, I really got to get back into that, so I got the console release. But I don't really play my PS4 all that much, and I think part of it is just because I don't have PS Plus, and I don't really want to pay for it. I have Xbox Live, I don't really want that either, but it was sort of one of those things where I had a couple college buddies, and I just said to auto-renew and kind of ignored it like an idiot, but, you know, if I've got it on my Xbox One, I think I'd play it more just because I play my Xbox One a lot more than my PS4. Another reason why I play my Xbox One more than my PS4 is just my PS4 controller's on the way out. Like, its battery is just awful. It goes from full to dead in about 10 minutes of a charge, which is not good. And I'm now playing one-handed just so I can hold my water, even though there's very little in it at this point. Now I am a lot more dehydrated than I thought I was. And I have no idea where Velma is at this point. But you know her, she's the one who likes to disappear a lot. I think while we're here, and since we have no real idea where Velma is anyway, we'll go to the post office and at least get rid of a couple of these letters. I think that would make our lives a little bit easier. I see a glowy spot. We'll get that on the way back. But pretty excited about Phantasy Star Online 2. Although, honestly, I'm not sure what is left for me there, because you know, I managed to hit the, well, the soft cap of the level of the character I used for the class I used. And other than doing like some ridiculously obtuse quests of like basically leveling 10 times to get one extra level to your character, to get like the additional, at least last I checked, was 5 levels. I don't really want to do that. I could try giving him different classes, but I don't really want to give my character extra classes or anything. The only one that I see any real value investing for my character would be like a hero class, which is just a, for me would be a support class, mainly because it's locked to weapons that I don't use. But apparently it's like the most broken class in the game, just because it's supposed to like take extraordinary buffs from every other class. And that was really the last thing that I remember when I played it, was they added that class, and I thought, wow, that is interesting. I just don't like that I can't use my character's weapons for it. But you know, if I've basically already built my character out to the way that I care, well then after that all that's really left, other than just playing for the sake of playing, which, you know, is its own reason to play. Weber? Weber moved over. You know, aside from that, well, there's like the aspect of trying to make your character as awesome as possible, like through visual customization by giving him different costumes and armor, but you know, I kind of think I already made my character about as awesome as I ever could be. I basically made my character ideal. I even got, like, the super awesome weapon skin I kind of always wanted for my character. And that took about a year to earn. On and off, just buying it on the auctions. But, you know, I'm pretty excited to play more PSO2, honestly, because I just remember sinking hundreds of hours into that game, because, you know, PSO2 is just great. And I remember that was, at least for a brief time, and, you know, if it comes out and becomes more readily available for the West, I think it probably will be again. That was going to be like the official game of the show's Discord server, and I actually remember playing with, I believe it was Black Mars on the Discord server and on YouTube. And shoutouts to Black Mars, super cool guy. Old friend of the show, and you know, we had an absolute blast playing together. Just stomping monsters into the dirt as a pair of bouncers, because bouncers are the coolest class. They have the hovering rollerblades and the twin swords. What more could you ever want? That was a lot of fun. We only ever did that once because it was kind of tricky to set up because of region differences. But, you know, I would love to do that again with the Discord. So maybe we'll do that once it becomes more available. I know one or two other people on the Discord kind of expressed interest in maybe doing that as well, so that's pretty cool. She is kind of rocking the green. I think it looks nice on her. Very little money. Awesome. Well, I can buy one thing of flowers, and I got bit by a mosquito. Awesome. Alright, well, I think we're gonna sell some stuff, buy some flowers, and go home. Sell that, sell that, sell that. I don't need number 67 shirts. Sunset tops actually look pretty nice. Those are the ones that have like the red to yellow gradient on them, and it actually reminds me of a color of, what was it, Gabera Daisy I grew once. And those are really neat flowers because they're kind of mutants. They like to, if you grow a bunch of Gaberas really close together, they tend to just sort of fuse all their flowers into like one giant super mega flower. And they definitely look weird and just mutated and just wrong, but they're really neat flowers. And, you know, I had never seen one that had like a gradient color to it. They're always just like one solid color, and they come in basically any color. But to see one that had sort of a gradient color to it was really cool. Alright, let's go home. We gotta go plant some flower seeds. And that reminds me, I've got to go try and get those delphinium seeds out of those seed pods either today or tomorrow. I'm not sure they're entirely dry yet, though. But today I actually got some more flower seeds from a garden that I'm helping to grow for my grandma. It's sort of like just sort of a passive project I'm doing every week. But we got a bunch of seeds from, what is it? Primrose. I got a bunch of primrose seeds and a couple, I think they're Livingston daisies, which we don't normally intentionally grow because they are basically weeds, but they're pretty and everyone likes them, so I figured I'd grab a few of them for next year's wildflower mix. So I'm getting pretty excited about the flowers I'm going to grow next year. And you know, half the flowers we've grown this year haven't even sprouted yet because, you know, they're late season flowers. And that's pretty exciting. Alright. Mr. Rover, please hurry up. Actually reminds me, I've still got to record my review for Pokemon Snap. That's got to come up soon, as well as start recording footage for another review I want to do this week. I think I can do that today. Actually, in that box of imports, I had something interesting, like a little import peripheral I want to test out, but I don't have a lot of games that are compatible with it. In fact, I only have one. So I'm going to have to look at more games that are compatible with it, but I'm pretty excited about it. I need to get a battery for it to power it properly, though. But, you know, seeing that big box import today, that was pretty exciting. Although, weirdly enough, they decided to ship it in 2 boxes as opposed to 1. Alright, we need more mail, please. Terrific. And do we have any other new villagers? We got Betty. I don't know why we suddenly have like this weird influx of villagers. Hello, the crazed gamer. Welcome to the stream. But, yeah, for some reason, after about 2 months of not having villagers, now we're actually getting villagers again. It's weird. And, you know, I could swear it was all associated with the fact we're going to the next town over, just stunting the growth of the game's population, but that doesn't actually seem to be the case. It's weird. Alright, did I plant them back here yet for our awesome super garden? I did not. So we're actually almost half done this little tiny chunk of our super garden. Do we have any big super fish to catch? No. That's alright. Let's go see if we can go say hi to Betty, because I don't know who that is. But first, I'm gonna see if we have any special events coming up. Oh no. No, 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 no. No, no, I'm not dealing with Katrina, not again. She's gonna tell me I'm gonna get struck by lightning. Oh, please not again. I don't know who Betty is. We didn't get the other glowy spot in the other town. Crap. But we got 10,000 bells here. That makes up for it a fair bit. Not bad. Getting close to another deposit. She's in bed, isn't she? Crap. Ah, well. It'll be something we'll probably deal with never, because I don't deal with people who go to bed early. It doesn't fit with my schedule. That's why I have to go to a second town that has a 6-hour time difference. But I will pick up this guy. Who will be worth about 2,000 bells tomorrow. Now see, that's what I don't like about later Animal Crossing games, is like the tarantulas and scorpions that attack you. That is... I find those guys to be annoying. I had such troubles catching them. Like, fortunately, I don't have to deal with that right now, because I'm playing the original, but... You know, I just don't like those guys at all. Because they always chase after you if you have the net out. And, you know, if you're just passively wandering around looking for other bugs and you don't think that they're going to be there, well, suddenly they see you and you're dead. And I always found it so hard to run away from them. Like, bees, with the exception of the fact you can't pause bees anymore in, like, the later Animal Crossing games, you know, bees are still not too bad. But tarantulas I found to be really bloody hard to deal with. Scorpions a little less so because they didn't jump, but none of them were really fun to catch. But on the bright side, we're almost close to finishing our entire collection. I think we're going to be done in about 2 weeks. That's pretty exciting. Not sure what we're going to do after that, though. Probably just go on more segues and end up talking about Rare Replay and how awesome a collection that is, and Phantasy Star Online 2. And weird Japanese imports I've bought recently. But, you know, in Animal Crossing, I'm not sure. We can work on our house, but I'm still not sure what to do with our house. I can't certainly fill up an entire room with dummies because it's not winter. And, you know, they take forever to get, but that would be kind of cool. I'd like to do, like, a scale model of the town using, like, the miniatures, but stuff like the bank, the post office model take forever as well. I might be able to get the museum model, because I'm only missing, you know, what's left of my fish and bug collection and 2 paintings, but just not sure what our large overarching goal will be. Huh. Really, you can outrun the tarantulas and scorpions. I've tried that a few times, but they always seemed faster than me. I know the one trick I had to catching scorpions is, like, I kind of caught them in a situation where I was on an incline and they just couldn't get me, but for tarantulas, that didn't work because they could actually jump up and just bite me, which sucked. But I always just thought those were, like, some of the worst bugs, aside from, you know, this game's bandit dragonfly for trying to catch. And, you know, the bandit dragonfly is just awful because it moves at your speed, so catching it's almost impossible. It's also been forever since I played Wild World, but that's interesting to know. I'm terrified of going back to Wild World now. It's like, you've left us for how many days? Just to play an older iteration of us? It's the new girl, I don't know who it is. Oh no, I'm not sending you mail. In this game that doesn't work too well, so no, I'm not sending you any. Sorry, Valise. That is just not happening. I think I'm gonna go drop some fossils in front of our house just so we can collect more beetles to make bigger profits tomorrow. But we are getting closer to that piggy bank. Oh, I didn't realize we had like 6 fossils. That's what you get for not playing too late yesterday. I think that's a giant one. Oh, that's not good. Your tablet's keyboard keeps closing, and you can't type without it stopped, huh? Yeah, I don't know too much. I don't have a tablet. The closest thing I have is my iPhone that is about 10 years old and basically doesn't work. So I couldn't give you too much advice on that, other than maybe hard reboot it. Let's see, let's make a deposit, because we can do that. I think we still need 1,100,000 for the next prize, but we are getting there. And if we take advantage of these beetles, we'll get there quick. Hopefully. Choo-choo. Good old train, always there to comment when we need it. I'm surprised you didn't fly away, Mr. Beetle. And I'm glad, because it means I get to catch you. Alright. Gotta send that away. I'm thinking this Friday I might do a stream of a game I have gotten recently as a gift from my girlfriend that I've been super excited to play and just haven't had the time. And I don't think it's a super long game, so it might be ambitious, but I might be able to play all the way through it. But You know, that's something I've been really excited about and just haven't had a chance to do it. So I'm thinking Friday I might do that. That might be fun. Alright, well, I hope resetting your device helps. I genuinely don't know how to help with tablets. I've never had one. And, you know, what I have had is so far removed from current spec technology that it probably wouldn't be terribly relevant. I mean, my advice is probably about as useful as telling you to hit it with the hammer. Sure, it might technically help, but it might not. Got another flat stag beetle. How many more beetles can we hold? A few. So that Sprocket needs something again, just because I want to talk to Sprocket again. And also because I don't want to give our other friend a note in the mail. Linkoids! I'm now out of water, and I still feel very dehydrated. That's not ideal. Oh well. So yeah, that's sort of been what's going on in my life today. Plumbing problems went from small problem to big problem. And, import games. Although I gotta figure out what I'm gonna play out of them first. I think I might, ask the Discord, see if anyone has any preferences to what they'd like to see in gameplay videos or something for the channel. Because, you know, they're super nice supporters. They deserve, like, an extra perk or something, and being able to decide what they see next is kind of something I can do. I know I certainly don't offer a lot of rewards to my patrons, and I feel bad about that, but there's not really much else I can do other than just, you know, keep doing what I'm doing and, you know, let them on the Discord. So if I can offer them, like, a nice little extra incentive, that doesn't hurt my feelings any. Because I have to, you know, thank them somehow. I wish I'd seen what her house looked like. Oh, no, wait, I did that yesterday. She has that really nice, simplistic-looking house. Right. I played for so little yesterday. I feel bad about that. And that giant pile of fossils outside my door can attest to it. But, unfortunately, I had to prep some delphinium seed pods. And they should be ready either tomorrow or today, I'm not sure. They still seemed a little bit wet. Oh, welcome back. But, I'm hoping, I'm leaving them out in the windowsill, so I'm hoping that the pods will dry out and I can just get the seeds from them tomorrow. And I can put them in the mix for wildflowers next year. That'll be nice. Never grown delphiniums myself, but, I sold them a lot at the nursery I used to work at, and they were quite pretty. They're one of the few actual flowers that is blue, because blue isn't a typically normal color you see in nature. So to see something that color is quite nice. I see a dynastid beetle. Will it be there by the time I get to it? Because the thing you gotta understand is if you move like a screen or half a screen away, they tend to not spawn. Or they tend to despawn, rather. Much like how that dynastid beetle did. Now, on the bright side, the dynastid beetles are the least profitable out of all the big beetles, but still, you know, it's nice to collect what you can, where you can, in order to make some profit in Animal Crossing, especially if you're trying to go for, like, the big bank deposit rewards. Which is kind of presently one of the few things we can do, other than, you know, maybe hop back into Punch-Out. Oh, I kind of want to do that, but at the same time, I know the moment I do, I'm going to be, like, just depressingly out of touch and, like, just so rusty. And I'm not sure I'll be able to beat Mr. Sandman by the end of the year. It's just kind of depressing. Great game. Really hard, though. Until you know the ins and outs of every fighter, it's just ridiculously hard to play. So unfortunately, my slated goal of being able to take out Mike Tyson, or his equivalent in this game, might not happen, unfortunately. Might not be something I'll ever regain the ability to do. Alas. Pearl, you need anything now? And please don't tell me you need flowers or a letter, because I don't want to do any of that nonsense. Okay, fine. I won't do anything for you, Pearl. See how I like it, not being able to do things for you. It's not like I'm trying to be Mr. Helpful or anything. Our garden's coming in nicely, though. Unfortunately, we are only about a third the way done our town at this point. And, you know, even though since we've started, we've gained access to buying like 3 to 5 different sets of flowers a day, to even doubling that if we go to the other town, you know, I don't think we're going to be able to cover the entire town by the end of the year. That's kind of unfortunate, because that was one thing I'd really like to do, but I just don't think that's something that was mathematically possible in the time frame we were giving ourselves. Where are all the beetles at? Seriously, I need to catch them. They're worth so much money. And then I can get a piggy bank that I'm probably just going to put in my basement and never actually use. Although that was one of the few things you could use from the bank, at least in later Animal Crossings. I think it was possible to use it in this game as well. There's a mountain stag. You know, it is after 11. We should be able to find the giant stags. But those are like, I want to say like 1% chance of spawnings, because they're just rare bugs. Guess we'll go down here. Cockroach. But the thing with going down here is there's just not a lot of trees to run into on this ridge. But it mixes things up a little, so go away, drone beetle. I hope your tablet's keyboard is working now, because I'm out of ideas. I'm so out of touch with stuff like that, because I just don't have money to buy stuff. There's that. Unfortunately, that is the sad reality of being otherwise unemployed outside of working on your YouTube channel and Twitch and trying to make donations and stuff. Oh, well, I'm glad it's working. Because that was the end of my ability to give you any advice, was just, you know, reboot it. And for all I know, that might have been as useful as telling you to hit it with a hammer. Except less permanently damaging. There's a denasted beetle. Although, hopefully we can replace that with something a little better. Because I know they're not worth as much. Oh, I'm getting excited just thinking about streaming. You know, I won't even hide what it is, because I've already shown it on my channel through my loot video, but Spike McFang. What I'd consider to be like the rarest, most obscure Super Nintendo game. You know, I finally have a copy, and I just won't play it. So I'm going to do that Friday night, I think. That's my plan. Probably after Animal Crossing, obviously, but yeah, I've heard that's only like a 4 or 5 hour game, so I might be able to do it in one sitting. That'd be pretty cool. And then that'll be 2 full playthroughs I've done this month, along with Pokemon Snap. Oh no, it's doing it again. And you fished up a tire. Oh, that is the worst. You know, I did that twice, like in the past month. I saw the giant Arapaima shadow. And, you know, every time I caught it, it was a tire. And, you know, I'm not sure if it's a predetermined thing. Like, if you see something like that, if it is the Arapaima or if it is a tire predetermined, like, part of me wants to think it's likely both. Like, it's not a predetermined thing, but it could be both potential things, and it's dependent on the frame you actually fish it up that the end result is. Sort of like, well, famously for me, if you ever played Warframe, they've got a fishing minigame in there. And if you catch something, like, on the last possible frame you can catch it, you get, like, a special legendary left boot to match, like, the normal garbage right boot. And, you know, I was very confused when that first happened. Oh, I haven't played Warframe in, like, over a year. I should do that again. That was a fun game. That was a great game because that was sort of what allowed me to connect with my little brother a little bit, because we just never got along, but we kind of bonded over that. Hey, I get to do a thing for Spike. Awesome. Oh, Spike, I can't deliver something to Cube. He's asleep. I can pick and choose jobs if I can't actually do them right now, and also because right now I can catch more bugs. And I could use that inventory slot for that. So I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to help you do a thing for Cube. Because I need beetles for bells. It's the newest initiative that funds this town's awesome super garden. And also how I'm going to get a piggy bank later. Although hopefully sooner. You know, if we really got our act together, we might be able to get the last million bells in, like, the rest of the month, maybe, but I don't think it would be super likely. It'd be kind of dependent on some luck factors, because I know I can't do the money rock anymore with our garden. Kind of ruining that. It's interesting that the money rock doesn't actually shuffle in this game. It actually stays the same money rock until you knock the money rockness out of it. And because it's currently a money rock that is surrounded by flowers, I can't do anything. But, you know, it might be possible to get that last million in the rest of the month. I think beetles stop spawning start September, which is less than ideal. It certainly puts a hamper on trying to catch them for making a big profit. But, you know, we'll see what we can do. After that, it's not the last prize for making bank deposits either, but I mean, after that, I think it's a little unrealistic to say that we're probably going to get the post office model. Short of putting in, like, the code for it or something, and I don't really want to use codes for stuff, honestly. Like, I might be willing to do it for the paintings just to finish off the museum, because those are random, but that's probably about the extent of it that I'd like to do. Yes, the legendary left boot combined with the right boot, you become unstoppable. I actually think I did have a left boot mounted in my ship at one point. I never really got into that whole decorating your ship nonsense. It felt like it took away from the whole point of what that game was about, but I think I did mount a left boot and put it in my spaceship. That and changing the inherent colors of the ship were about all the customization I did in that game. For ships, anyway. Customized the crap out of my various robot space ninjas. Also, I just saw a gift from the Sky Gods. Where did it go? Did it disappear? I don't think it would. It doesn't do that. Does it? Uh-oh. Did I make the present disappear? Did I offend it in some way? I keep losing these presents. What the hell? Huh. You know, I didn't think these things despawned until they got to the end of a screen, because, you know, that's what they did. They flew from one side of the world to the other. That's why you could kind of commonly find them in the center of town, because they'd already traveled that path. But I think that one literally despawned, which I've never seen before. That is peculiar. I kind of wish I got to see that new villager's house, but the fact that they go to bed before I tend to start will probably mean that will never happen. I wish the game would take a hint and stop spawning villagers that do that. Because I know I do this late, but at the same time, you know, Take the hint, I already have like 3 villagers that are like that I just don't talk to. And, you know, I think that would be a thing they could have programmed into the game pretty simply. It's like, you know, if you never bothered talking to this villager, let them leave because they didn't feel welcome in your village. That would have been great. Because there's so many villagers I don't want to deal with. Oh, we are just catching dynastid beetles now. This is not ideal. Okay, so we got 4 or 5 dynastid beetles. 4 so far, plus 1 empty slot. That's a 5th dynastid beetle. Let's try and replace them. Because maximizing and optimizing profits for piggy banks. It's important. Because how else will you get a piggy bank in this game? You won't, is the trick to that. You want to talk about something, Felice, while we're here? Because I know you want a letter. I'm not going to get you one. Well, I do have a mountain beetle. I don't know, like, see, the thing about this is all of these things are randomized. Like, I could say money, but it could be anywhere from, like, 100 bells to, like, 5,000 bells, theoretically. I think 5,000 is, like, the hard cap on it, but it's unlikely to ever get there. Screw it. Let's see what we get. That's actually not horrible. I'll take that for my mountain beetle. Sure. Alright, that wasn't a bad little gamble. If she wanted a dynastid beetle, I would have absolutely gone in for that. But the fact that money and, you know, rewards are mostly randomized is kind of a problem when it comes to a lot of this stuff. You know, in some regards, it kind of works, like when dealing with Sahara, who tells you in advance, you know, this is what I will give you if you trade me, and you can say no and wait for a better trade. But, you know, for the most part, it usually ends with the villager giving you something you didn't want or something undervalued for what you're giving them. Or in the worst scenarios, them giving you something that is completely disproportionate in value to something they take from you, and you have no choice in it. It's a tiny little fish. That's not a super fish. I have no idea why they designed events like that, where villagers would actively, like, take something without your permission and then just replace it with something random. I think that's just a flat stag. I was kind of hoping to get a giant stag, but I guess that's not going to happen. Oh well. The dynastids and I think the other beetles have like this weird metallic twang when you let them go. I just noticed that. Kind of a weird sound. There's another dynastid. We don't really need it because they're not worth as much as the other beetles, and presently we are trying to replace them with more profitable ones. Although to be fair, the difference in them is probably at most 300 bells. Maybe 5. But still, you know. Here's a saw stag. I think those are... crap. Scared it off. I think those are worth more than the flats and the dynastids for sure. Certainly not worth more than the giant stag beetles, but we're not exactly running into them. And of course that's because they're like a 1% spawn sort of insect. But unlike, say, the banded dragonfly, at least they're stationary and not stupid to try and catch. So it's just a matter of not scaring them off. Although, I mean, I guess if you want to boil it down, you could say the same thing about the banded dragonfly. It's a matter of not scaring it off, but also it's moving at full speed the entire time. Which is always your speed times a factor of, I think, like 10%. Fortunately, I already have a banded dragonfly. Which is good, because, like, I think that's sort of the... that is sort of like the one that decides whether or not you'll ever have a full collection of bugs. Because, yeah, you can complain about other bugs being kind of hard to run into. Let's talk to Sprocket, because why not? But, you know, those ones are at least ones you can catch, whereas banded dragonflies, even if you run into them, there's no guarantees with them. They're random, basically. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed The Crazed Gamer, and I hope to see you again. Because I'm doing this every single night, and, you know, Animal Crossing's a lot of fun. But I'm glad I could keep you entertained for a little bit, anyway. And I hope you have a good night. I'm probably going to close this up pretty soon myself, because, you know, we've been doing this for an hour, and at this point I'm just replacing dynasted beetles, but, you know, still. Oh, there's a saw stag. But I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, I'm waiting for Friday night, because I'm just gonna go hard on this game my girlfriend got me. Because, first of all, it was like my most wanted Super Nintendo game, but also, you know, it's a game I'm not super familiar with, so it'll be a new experience for me, and also I have been waiting almost a year to play it. We first discovered the seller who was getting rid of it around September when she started proper dating me. And she wanted to get that for me as a Christmas present, and then the seller kind of jerked her around a lot, so then it kind of became a birthday present. And then it sort of became a beginning of August present, so, you know, I've been very patient to play this game, and, you know, I am not a patient person, so I've been going crazy just thinking about how much I want to play this thing. So, you know, I'm pretty excited, even if it is, you know, something that may not be entirely worth the fact I had to wait a year for it. You know, it's definitely a special present for my girlfriend. It's gonna hold a special place in my heart forever. And also, you know, it's a new game, and it's a Super Nintendo game. I love Super Nintendo games, and it's, you know, it's one I've wanted to play forever. So, you know, I'm very excited to hopefully stream this on Friday, because I've been sitting on it for maybe about a week now, and, you know, before I did that, I wanted to make sure I got Pokemon Snap done for the person who donated it for the show, and I still have to finish the review of that. So I think that'll be what I'll do after this. But Friday night I'm planning on, so, you know, mark your calendars. We're gonna take a look at Spike McFang, which is what I would consider to be probably the most rare and obscure official North American Super Nintendo game. And definitely probably one of the highlights of my collection at this point, which is pretty cool. But, you know, we've been doing this for an hour. I've gotten rid of all the dynasty beetles. I think we're good for tonight, so that'll be it. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know when we go live, because we do this every single night, as well as weekly Pokemon streams, and other stuff when I have the time. Again, ideally, Friday night is going to be the big one I'm pretty excited for. You might also want to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see over 1,000 videos waiting just for you, because that's how amazing-tacular you are. And not just Animal Crossing, but pretty much any crazy game I run into, and I run into a lot of weird, crazy stuff. I import a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of stuff that, you know, even just the North American markets aren't super, super familiar with. And if you really want to make my day, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon. Support the show any way you can so that I can continue to do what I do to the best of my abilities, which in this case is mostly complain about Conker's Bad Fur Day, talk about how awesome Phantasy Star Online 2 is, even though I haven't played it in over a year, and also, you know, catching a lot of beetles and getting really excited about Super Nintendo games. Let's just be honest. It's next to, say, the Neo Geo and the Sega Saturn, it was one of the best consoles of all time. And, you know, you'll get yourself on the Discord where we can talk about awesome stuff like all of our favorite Neo Geo and Sega Saturn games. I actually got a couple in my import box I'm kind of itching to play as well. So, you know, we can have some fun with that. Plus, we might get back into playing some PSO2. That would be pretty fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace out, Internet.